Hello and welcome to my shed. In the previous video, available here, I showed you how the power board was going to work, and in this video I'm actually going to build and test it. Right, here we are. I'm going to make up this board as I described. Now I'm cutting these headers to, how many pins have I got there? 8 pins. Come on. Hey. Where'd that go? There we go. And 8 pins. 8 pins is there. I might need those. Got any more? Yep. Some more here. And I'm going to need 6 of these. 3 for the servos. And 3 for the receiver. I always get those confused. Transmitter, receiver. I keep talking about transmitters and receivers. I mean, in the final product, I don't expect the robotic arm will not be powered by the remote control. It's just this is a handy way of testing it to make sure everything, the servos all work and what we can do there. But I still think it's going to need extra power from whatever we can transmit. So I mean, if we're sending the signal, the pulse width modulated signal from, say, a computer, Raspberry Pi, etc., we're still going to need external power, some power with some grunt to it, some, a few amps, maybe 4, 5, 6 amps, I'm not sure really, but more than 2, let's say. And 2 amps is about what the old Raspberry Pi is going to take. It's not going to take much more than that. And you're going to risk burning out some of your electronics if you take more than... So having an external power board is probably a good idea. So that is... These are going to go... Let's see, we can just drop all these in. Like that. These 2 for the power, this one for the signal, and then we've got the receiver set like that. It's very simple. There's no components or anything. So our servo is going to go that way round on there, and then these little extensions are going to go that way round, and in that way the transmitter, the signal, the pulse width modulated signal is going to be transmitted, it's going to be connected from here to here, and the servo is going to get its external power supply. So I now need to solder. I can't do that. I'm going to solder those up, and here you get to see my fabulous soldering technique, which I am not very good at because I don't do it very much. How to do this? I don't know. Okay, I might just cut to the finished product, but we'll... Right, here's one I made earlier. Well, not quite. Here's the one we managed to cobble together. I ended up adding a few more pins. They're not fantastically straight, and the soldering... Actually, the soldering got better as we went along, but... wire it up and see how we go. Right, so... As I said before, we have a lot of headers. Headers? They're not headers. They're cables from female cables. So I'm going to plug those into the transmitter, the receiver, like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Those are all in there. And then, number 1, they go in to there. And number 2, I don't suppose it really matters, but let's get them in vaguely the right order. Number 3, number 4, number 5. Now we could do something. One of the things I have on my robot arm is that the grippers at the end of the arm are 2 servos. So actually I have 7 servos on the robot arm, but the 2 on the gripper need to be operated at the same time. So you could do something special here by having, I don't know how you do it. You'd maybe link this last servo to 2 of these, the last signal to 2 of these pins, but maybe that would make them do the same thing. You'd have to figure that out. I don't know. Well, we'll get to that. We'll get to that when we can maybe operate them independently. I don't know how many channels we've got. So that is the receiver wired in. So now we're sharing the signal over to this set. So now we need to wire in the arm. Here's, make a bit of space, make a bit of space. Beep, 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 beep. There we go, just stay there. It's got a life of its own, this thing. Right. Now again, I don't really know which way round all of these go, but as it's just for testing out whether or not what power we've got coming in, we will just wire them up randomly. So we want the white cable on the inside, or the lighter cable on the inside, which is the signal. And there we go. So we have a bit of a random control system here. When we power the transmitter up, we won't know exactly which servos are going to be working and which ones aren't. And again, I've left the rotational one here. I've left that one off because that's the shared one, so we'll have 2 grippers on the outside. Now, there's a big bundle of wires there, but you can see we have the white cables joined, so we should be getting power. Now, we need some power. Power. How are we going to get power? So, power. Right, I've got a my bench top's power supply, yeah. It's a cannibalized computer power supply, which you probably recognise these pins. This supplies 5 volts, 12 volts, 3 volts, lots of power. And we can theoretically, according to the box, get 30 amps out of the 5 volt power supply. Don't really rate these cables for 30 amps, but who knows. Frying tonight. Ooh, I don't know if you heard that, but one of the servos reacted. That was just a bit of stray power going in, I think. So power comes in here, goes to the servos, gets its signal from this little device. So what we need to do now is repeat the experiment we did last time, and hopefully we have a bit more control over how the robotic arm works. We may be able to use 2 servos at once rather than just the receiver cutting out all the time. Let me just wire that up and I'll get back to you. Okay, so here we are. We have our robot arm. We have the power distribution board, I suppose you could call it. The receiver powered by the power brick, powered by the LiPo. That's just for the transmitter to give that power. And for the receiver, I keep getting that wrong, and the receiver. So let's see what happens when we power it up. Let's hope it's not as dramatic as last time. Well, that was pretty dramatic. Let's see if we can lift itself. Oh, that is bad. That sounds very bad. don't know if that's because the arm has a little bit of rescue remedy here. There we go. Okay, what have we got? Okay. Well, if the camera wouldn't keep slipping down, it would be fine. But the camera keeps slipping. Right, so well, we can certainly operate two servos at the same time. Although it's a bit I think the servo centering is gone. But we have a more significant problem. I think that's the let's just turn it off for a minute. I think our experiments previously have broken the bottom servo. Let me see if I can show you that in close up. Okay, this is the shoulder. It's all powered up at the moment, so let me just have a quick zoom in on this joint here. And when we move the joint, you can see that's just sliding around in there. I think we've stripped, or I've stripped, the servo arm. The servo arms are little plastic arms that fit on the metal ridges of the servo. And I think I've stripped it with all the messing about we've done. Which is why focus. That's the servo moving around in there. That arm no longer works. So we've broken the robotic arm. Oh dear. Right. Let's see what we need to do about that and turn it all off and see what we can do. Okay, I've started to take this to pieces. I've taken the main arm out of here, out of its joint, and you can see there the servo. Let's zoom in a bit and put that in the middle somewhere. You can take that out of the way. So what we've got here is the side piece, and this is what fits onto the splines of the servo, and this is just completely threaded. Normally there's a lovely I don't think you can see that, but there's a splined socket in there which fits onto the splines on the servo, and this being plastic, it's fairly tough plastic, but it's just not been able to take the weight. And I think the combined weight of all this arm thrashing about has just stripped off the threads in the inside here. So I'm going to have to do something about that. Perhaps if we made it out of lighter material, or maybe moved the servos back. I'm not sure how that might. There's some sort of leverage perhaps. Maybe we can move the arms in a different way and move the joints, put the servos further back over the, so that this shoulder joint, this major joint here, hasn't got as much stress. Perhaps you can buy these in metal. I don't know. Maybe you can. Right. Well, something to be thought about. And what we're going to do next time, I think, rebuild this or redesign it. Catch up with me next time. Thank you very much for watching. Bye bye.